When my neighbor tried to pressure me by saying, "You don't know current market conditions. I'll offer you a fair price before values drop further to buy my house below market value," it was time to remind him of my property appraisal skills and market analysis expertise. While he thought I was a financially naive homeowner, I was about to show him who the real property predator was and what the legal consequences would be. Comment where you're watching from and stay until the end, because this isn't just a neighbor dispute. It's the moment 35 years of property law expertise explodes. My name is Margaret Sullivan. I'm 73 years old and live in Portland, Oregon. I have a modest house on Oak Street that I bought in 1987. It's a quiet residential neighborhood with mature trees and well-maintained homes, the perfect retirement sanctuary. But for the past 2 years, my neighbor Rick Patterson has been making my life hell. Rick is 45 years old, an aggressive real estate developer. He bought the house next to mine in 2022 and immediately started renovations. But Rick's real goal was to get my property for a development project. Nobody knows this, but I worked as a property law attorney for 35 years. I was a partner at Hawkins, Sullivan and Associates law firm. Real estate transactions, property disputes, zoning issues, eminent domain cases, all in my area of expertise. I retired in 2016 and decided to live a quiet life. Rick initially tried a friendly approach. "Margaret, you have a beautiful property. Classic 1950s architecture." "Thank you, Rick. I love this house. Have you considered updating? Modern renovations increase value significantly. I'm comfortable as it is." "Of course, but market trends indicate." "Market trends." First red flag. "Rick, I'm not planning to sell." Everyone plans to sell eventually. The question is timing. Eventually. Timing. Pressure tactics beginning. Over the months, Rick's comments became more persistent. "Margaret, the neighborhood is changing. Young families are moving in expecting modern standards. Modern standards, implying my house was substandard. Property values are rising rapidly. Smart owners capitalize on appreciation. Smart owners, implying I wasn't smart. Winter is approaching. Maintenance becomes challenging for mature homeowners. Mature homeowners, code for too old. I remained polite but firm. "Rick, I'm staying put." Of course, of course. Just thinking about your future. My future." As if he cared. In spring 2023, Rick escalated his tactics. He started pointing out issues with my property. "Margaret, your gutters need attention. Water damage is a serious concern." My gutters were fine. A recent inspection showed no problems. "The sidewalk is cracking. That's a city liability issue if someone gets injured." The sidewalk had a minor crack, completely normal wear. "The trees are overgrown. They're blocking the neighbor's sunlight, a potential legal problem." My trees were well maintained with professional trimming annually. "Margaret, these maintenance issues are expensive. Maybe it's time to consider a sale." Sale. Always came back to the sale. In summer 2023, Rick brought a professional assessment. "Margaret, I asked a contractor friend to evaluate your property. There are significant issues. I didn't request an evaluation. It's a courtesy assessment, structural concerns, outdated electrical, plumbing needs replacement." "My house is fine, Rick. A recent inspection passed all requirements." "Margaret, inspections sometimes miss critical issues. Professional opinion is more reliable." "Professional opinion." His contractor buddy's opinion? Cost estimates show $80,000 in necessary repairs. $80,000, a conveniently expensive amount. Margaret, at your age, a major renovation project is challenging. Maybe it's time to sell? At your age. There it was. In fall 2023, Rick tried financial manipulation. Margaret, market analysis shows property values are peaking. Smart sellers act before the correction. Market analysis. From where? Interest rates are rising. The buyer pool is shrinking. Prices will decline. My neighbor sold last month, got a good price. That's the exception, not the rule. The general trend is downward. According to whom? Real estate professionals. Market data indicates. Market data. Vague, unverified claims. Margaret, I could offer you a fair price, save you realtor fees and inspection hassles. Fair price. Meaning below market. What's a fair price? Considering the needed repairs, current market conditions, maybe $280,000. $280,000. I knew my property was worth $450,000 minimum. Rick, that's significantly below market value. Market value is theoretical. Reality includes repair costs, selling expenses, market decline risks. Theoretical. Reality. Manipulation language. I'll consider it. Don't wait too long. Market conditions are changing rapidly. Rapidly. Artificial urgency. In winter 2024, Rick tried intimidation tactics. Margaret, a city inspector, mentioned concerns about your property. What concerns? Code violations, structural issues, potential condemnation, serious escalation. Which inspector? Confidential source, but reliable. Confidential, convenient excuse. Margaret, a condemned property is worthless. Better sell now while it's still possible. Worthless, fear tactic. What code violations specifically? Foundation settling, electrical hazards, plumbing leaks. All false. My property was meticulously maintained. Rick, I haven't received any official notices. Sometimes warnings are unofficial initially. Official action follows. Unofficial warnings, more manipulation. Margaret, I'm maintaining my offer, $280,000. Cash, quick closing. Still $280,000. Still an insulting lowball. I need to think. Don't think too long. Once the city acts, options disappear. Options disappear. Threat escalation. In February 2024, Rick brought a fake city official. Margaret, this is Tom Bradley from the City Planning Department. Tom looked official. Clipboard, badge, serious demeanor. Mrs. Sullivan, we've received complaints about property maintenance. Complaints. From Rick, obviously. What specific complaints? Structural deterioration, safety hazards, neighborhood impact. I maintain my property properly. Ma'am, we need a comprehensive inspection. Significant issues could require condemnation. Condemnation again. When would the inspection occur? Depends on the schedule. Could be weeks, could be months. Vague timeline. Building anxiety. Mrs. Sullivan, condemnation proceedings are lengthy and expensive. Alternative solutions are preferable. Alternative solutions, like selling to Rick. After they left, I researched Tom Bradley. No such person in the city planning department. Rick was using fake officials. Criminal fraud. In March 2024, the final confrontation came. Margaret, market conditions are deteriorating rapidly. This is the last chance for a reasonable offer. Last chance. Final pressure. $260,000. Take it or leave it. $260,000. Even lower than before. Rick, that's $20,000 less than your previous offer. Market reality. Prices are dropping weekly. According to what data? Professional analysis. Real estate trends are clear. Show me the data. It's proprietary information. Trust professional judgment. Proprietary. Translation. Made up. Margaret, you don't understand current market conditions. I'll offer you a fair price before values drop further. Current market conditions. Fair price. More manipulation. Rick, I understand more than you think. Do you? Real estate is complex. Professional expertise is required. Professional expertise. Ironic, coming from an amateur scammer. Margaret, accept the offer. Avoid financial disaster. Financial disaster. If I accepted his offer. Rick, sit down. We need to talk. About the sale terms. About who you're trying to scam. Rick's confidence flickered. Scam? Margaret, I'm helping you. Are you? Let's examine your help. I pulled out a thick folder from the kitchen drawer. What's that? Documentation. Your entire manipulation campaign. Rick looked nervous. Margaret, I don't understand. Don't you? Let me explain. I opened the folder and spread documents across the table. First, your property evaluation claims. You said there were structural issues, electrical problems, plumbing needs replacement. According to professional assessment. According to your contractor buddy. A real professional assessment shows a different story. I showed a recent inspection report. Perfect condition, all systems functional. Second, your market analysis. You claimed property values were declining, prices dropping. Market data indicates a may. What market data? The Portland real estate market is up 12% this year. I showed actual market reports, comparable sales, appreciation trends. Third, your city official, Tom Bradley. Funny thing about Tom? Rick went pale. He doesn't exist. There's no Tom Bradley in the city planning department. That was a misunderstanding. Criminal fraud, Rick. Impersonating a government official. Margaret, we can work this out. Fourth, your lowball offers. $280,000, then $260,000. Fair market value considering. Considering what? Current market value is $480,000 minimum. I showed a professional appraisal and recent comparable sales. You offered $260,000 for a $480,000 property, 46% below market. Margaret, how do you know all this? Excellent question, Rick. I pulled out a second folder. Meet Margaret Sullivan, licensed attorney, Oregon State Bar. Rick stared at the documents. Property law specialist, 35 years experience. You're a lawyer? Was, retired 2016. Hawkins, Sullivan and Associates. Real estate law expert. But you're just what? An elderly woman you could manipulate? You thought I was ignorant, vulnerable, an easy target. Rick was speechless. Rick, let me educate you about property law. I pulled out legal textbooks and case files. Predatory property acquisition? Illegal? Fraud in property transactions? Criminal? Impersonating government officials? Felony? Margaret, this is a misunderstanding. Is it? Let's review the evidence. I showed recordings, phone conversations, security camera footage. Recorded conversations show systematic manipulation, false claims, fraudulent representations. You recorded me? Oregon is a single-party consent state. Perfectly legal. Margaret, I can explain. Explain what? Your criminal enterprise? I showed more documents. Property records show your development plans. You need my lot for project completion. That's not, I mean, zoning applications filed. Construction permits pending. All contingent on acquiring my property. Rick slumped in his chair. Margaret, look, maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Wrong foot? Rick, you've committed multiple crimes. What? What are you going to do? Excellent question. I picked up the phone. Portland Police Department. I need to report property fraud and impersonation of a government official. Wait! Rick jumped up. Margaret, please. Detective Johnson. Margaret Sullivan, retired attorney. I have evidence of criminal activity. Rick was panicking now. Margaret, stop! I'll leave you alone. Will you? How do I know you won't try again? I promise. No more contact. Promises from a criminal? Not reassuring. Margaret, what do you want? Justice, Rick. Full consequences for your actions. I finished the call with police and scheduled a meeting. Margaret, please reconsider. I made mistakes, but mistakes? Systematic criminal fraud for 18 months? I'll pay you. Compensation for the misunderstanding. Bribery now? Adding more charges. Margaret, I have a family, a business. This will ruin me. Should have considered that before trying to ruin me. Detective Johnson arrived 2 hours later. Professional, thorough, experienced with property fraud cases. Mrs. Sullivan, impressive documentation. How did you compile this? 35 years property law experience. I know predatory schemes. Mr. Patterson, these are serious charges. Fraud, impersonation, attempted theft by deception. Rick tried denying everything, but the evidence was overwhelming. Mrs. Sullivan, are you pressing full charges? Absolutely. This stops now. Rick was arrested and charged with 3 felonies. Bond was set at $50,000. Local news covered the story. Retired attorney exposes property scammer. The community praised my courage. Other neighbors came forward. Rick had approached several elderly homeowners with similar schemes. The district attorney prosecuted aggressively. Property fraud against seniors was a priority crime. Rick eventually pled guilty to felony fraud. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison, $25,000 fine, and 5 years probation. The judge ordered restitution for legal fees and damages. Rick paid a $15,000 settlement. The best part? Rick's development project collapsed. He couldn't acquire the necessary properties, and investors withdrew funding. The property was foreclosed and sold at auction. Rick lost everything. Today, I live peacefully in my $480,000 home. Property values continued rising. It's now worth $520,000. Rick learned an expensive lesson. Don't underestimate elderly women, especially retired attorneys. The neighborhood learned a valuable lesson. Predatory property schemes exist, but knowledge and documentation defeat criminals. The community now watches for property scammers and reports suspicious activity. I occasionally give talks at senior centers. Protecting yourself from property fraud. I share my story, teach warning signs, and encourage documentation. Key message: age doesn't equal vulnerability. Experience trumps manipulation. When my neighbor tried to pressure me by saying, "You don't know current market conditions," I'll offer you a fair price before values drop further. To buy my house below market value, I reminded him of my property appraisal skills and market analysis expertise. While he thought I was a financially naive homeowner, I showed him who the real property predator was and what the legal consequences would be. Sometimes the quiet elderly neighbor knows more than predators expect. Sometimes retirement means experience, not vulnerability. And sometimes the person you're trying to scam is exactly the wrong person to mess with. Rick learned that property law expertise doesn't retire. The community learned that seniors can fight back effectively. And I learned that 35 years of legal knowledge never goes to waste. Property protected, criminal prosecuted, justice served. Rick thought he found an easy target. Instead, he found his worst nightmare, an informed, experienced, legally armed opponent. Game over.